then I will share my screen. So this webinar particularly, we're going to talk about the live occupancy control system. So if you're needing to know more about what our footfall camera generally do, then you might want to contact us separately for another different session. Because many of our existing partners, so they're already having a lot of cameras already installed at their customers' place, so they're probably very familiar with our system. So this one today, we are specifically going to talk about the COVID-19 and what is the market demand for that. So very briefly about our company. So we are a global leader in people counting system. We started in 2002 already, and we have always been doing image processing technology, and people counting system has now moved towards the 4th generation, where we have our 3D camera together with a Wi-Fi tracking, giving you a whole suite of different matrices and different use case for many different industries. So we have installed 500,000 units worldwide, and we are continuously reinvesting our revenue back into research and development. We are very heavy on research and development. We have our own in-house team, so we manufacture both the hardware as well as build our own software platform, thereby allowing a different industry. We are able to customize for different businesses, different business needs and different industries. So we also serve multiple sectors, from retail, fast food, restaurants, museums to smart buildings and airports. So prior to this COVID-19, we have already done occupancy counting, mainly for crowd control, for big crowd area, and also for smart buildings, so that they can do facility utilization analysis and also energy optimization. But on this webinar, we're going to particularly look at the businesses who are reopening after the lockdown, what they need to do and what we could do. And we're going to talk about the safe occupancy, how it works, the key benefit, key features as well as the benefit, and specifically targeting what is the market segment for this particular solution and the quite specific and unique marketing and sales method that you probably want to know, so we can share from experience from all our different partners worldwide, and also the kind of support that we'll provide from FootfallCam. We also share some case studies with you. So now, why do end user need safe occupancy? Now, when they reopen, they would have a set of preventive measures, so they would want to have that in place. Mainly, of course, is to comply with the government guidelines, to keep the social distancing, and to comply to the occupancy restriction. So in many countries, we already have this. Government have already announced that these guidelines is almost a regulation, and it will be in place for the next year. So it's for them to protect their employee and to reassure the visitor. It's automated, so it's very cost effective, and there's long-term benefit. So helping business to comply with the social distancing, because the government has already imposed this regulation, so it is a must-have for them to have to limit the number of people in the premises. So many have resort to assigning security guard at the door, but this is manual counting, so it's very costly, inaccurate, and in the end of the day, it provides no evidence for compliance. But FootfallCam Safe Occupancy is automated, so it's very cost effective. Is accurate because it is scientifically driven. That it is not a manual counting, but it's actually scientifically driven data with proven accuracy. And for the businesses, it's accountable. They will have live dashboard. They will have management reports for them to make actionable plan and also provide evidence if necessary. So I'm going to go through briefly comparing the manual counting and automated counting. We all know, but specifically with this, because sometimes you might get questions from your customers. So I thought we will share this, what is the main difference on there, because a lot of people think that the security guard obviously is very expensive. They would think that if I have a man there, then he can do a lot more. But actually with manual counting, there are a few comparisons. So one is with the setup cost. As we know, this is the most expensive way of doing things, because you need to pay the hourly rate to a person having there, and you're talking at least around that figure, depending on which country you are at, and also depending on how many doors you have and how big your premises is and how many personnel you actually need. Whereas with any digital device is a one-off setup cost. The 1,200 is around what the market is prepared to pay, and also what many of our partners are looking at charging. So it is a one-off setup cost. So once they have set up, they will probably find that this is cheaper than one security guard a month. And once they have set up, they can use it for years to come. The accuracy, one way is that there's no way to prove the accuracy of a security guard, because there's just no benchmark, no evidence having to produce to do that. So it's not possible to evidence the accuracy actually. And also they will have to do a non-stop manual counting from the first hour to the last hour. So you're actually having to expect a security guard not to keep their eyes off and not to be distracted and having to count all those times. But in reality, the security guard is there actually to action, to speak to the customer, to tell them they can enter or not, and to explain why they can't enter. And if they're queuing outside, they should keep a 2-meter distance. Quite a lot of things to have to do that at the door. And if there is more than one door, then they will be also needing communication in between the doors, the security guards in between the doors, to tell them, oh, I have one person go out now. And the other one say, oh, I now have 2 persons going in. So it's impossible. They could probably count how many people go in, but it's impossible for them almost to keep track of how many people are inside there now. Especially if they have quite a sizable store. Whereas with the people counter, once you install, once it's done with the verification and tuning by our team, then we will achieve more than 95%. And not only that, this is verifiable. We verify with a video proof, so I'll show you how that verification report is later. There will be a link here. So I will, at the end of the webinar, we will share these slides with you, and also the recording of the webinar, so you can go through it again, or you can share it with your colleagues and partners. There will be links here too, so that you can click on it and refer to that. So from the customer's perception, of course, with the security guard is manual, is non-systematic, is subject to human judgment. Whereas with this, with a system, they will feel that it is a high-tech, scientifically driven, data-driven control on there. Of course, then for the customers, there is long-term benefits. We have quite a lot of other functions that are available with the people counting system. I'll go through that later. So now going to just show you how does that work. So if I show this schematic visual, so you have a people counter at the door, and then you will have a display screen at the door. Now then the counter start counting, and it counts in as well as out. So as people go in, then the occupancy starts increasing until a person go out. And the screen, you will set a limit of the premises, and then when it reaches there, it will become a red stop, and you expect people to queue there. So then, as you can see, as they come in, we counted the 1 in, and then now it's then 10 until someone goes out, then it minus that off, and allowing the next person to go in. So on the simplest term, it is the number of people going in minus the people going out. That would then give you the live occupancy at that time. Yeah, so it is a 3D stereoscopic video technology. I'll explain about the technology later, and also I'll explain how you're going to count how wide it will cover with the one camera. I'll also explain about the long durability later. So I'll then go through to show you. So in the simplest form to explain is that on step 1, you will install the camera at the door. And then we will configure that for you. We will tune the camera for you to make it above 95% accurate. And then we will need to set up the safe occupancy module onto your software. The reason why this is not by default is that by default, our camera is a people counting system. We count footfall, we count how many people are outside, how many comes in, how long they stay in your store, if they're a returning customer, we do sales conversion, we do all that. And we have many, many thousands of cameras already out there. Not everyone requires an occupancy system. So we will need to know which one requires an occupancy system. So we will send out a user guide. So please do follow the steps there that is required that you do. So we require you to notify us that you are wanting an occupancy system. So we will set that up for you. Then you will need to have a display. So I will explain all the different display options there that you need to provide at the outside of the store, so that this is a you will have two types of display. One is customer facing, so for customer outside to know whether or not they should come in, and then one which is the staff facing, so that they know what their occupancy level is. I'll explain a little bit more shortly. And then we have alerts, so alerting the staff if people are breaching the notice. So I explain a little bit more. I'll just quickly go to show you the video. So because just now I show you a schematic, a diagram one. So this is showing you how that works. You'll be able to click on this link to go to our YouTube place. So this direction is going out, and then this direction is coming in. As you can see, they start counting. This is the zone that we're doing. So as they come in, it starts counting. Now it's 10 maximum. So we need to wait until one person go up to become green again to allow the next person in. I will let this loop through to show you the next thing. So this is the customer facing. So you usually put it on the outside of the store to show people whether they can enter. And this is staff facing dashboard. So the staff member will be able to see how well they're doing, and we update there every second. It's actually less than every second on there. So you'll be able to watch this video shortly. So telling you about the component of the system. So the camera, which is the 3D camera with the 2 lenses, and the Wi-Fi tracking there, so that we track a lot of other metrics, like how many people are outside that pass by the store, how long they stay there. That it can only be achieved with the Wi-Fi tracking, and whether or not, the zone analytics. I'll show you all the different reports there with that. So you will have the camera at the door, and then you will have a dashboard. This is a customer-facing dashboard to show the live occupancy. You also have the employee-facing dashboard for the store manager, and also an alert. So this alert notification system will go to their email, Telegram, app notification, so they can have that. They will also have the reports. So we have many reports for people counting already. So this is a specific occupancy reports, so that we have it at the store level, as well as we have it at the company level for the top management. So this is quite key. For the store level, will be for the store manager, because then they can see their daily activity, so they can see what time they're most vulnerable in breaching the capacity. Then they can see what they need to do with that. So it's not just breaching the capacity, it's also looking at when is their busiest time, so they can do staff planning I'll show you a staff planning report later as well. So these are the things for the store level reports. The purpose of it is for store manager to be able to make actionable plan based on data. The top management report is so that they can have an overview of all their stores. So it is a quantitative measurements of all their stores so that they will be able to know which store they need to provide more support to. So and obviously have data to work on to make data-driven decision. So the system package, so you will need the people counter, the camera. This is what we call the 3D cam, the FootfallCam 3D Plus. We sell you at your reseller pricing. You will have a list of the price there. And then you will have your end user pricing that we recommend. This is the manufacturer suggested retail price. That we suggest that because this is where our reseller are coming to tell us that this is what they are selling to the customer. What we find is also what is the market is prepared to pay. We do have resellers selling it kind of like just below $1,000 US. That's for volume as well. So with that one, we would definitely usually win the project. With all the others, there's software we provide, which is the one with the reportings, and also it is a management software, so they can go there to manage all the count, all the number of cameras, their user data, and with all the health check there. I will go through that software shortly, and the Android tablet app on there, and also any dashboard. The live occupancy dashboard, the customer facing as well as the staff facing. So this is a lifetime license for that. It is very quick and easy installation. You'll probably find the work that you will need to do on your part is is installing one cable. So you'll need to run one cable, which is usually the Cat5 or the Cat6 cable to the camera. So once you have installed that, if you show us your live view, we will be able to tell you whether or not you install it in the correct place. We do set up a WhatsApp support group. So this is usually with the purpose of supporting your engineers when they're installing at your customer site. So usually you will tell us beforehand that you will having a installation. We will then have people stand by. What we then do is we will ask them to send us a screenshot so that we have the appropriate person there to advise whether or not that position is correct. Once we feel that the position is fine and you do the appropriate setup according to our guide, then everything will be on our system. So then it's on board. So that's what we call the system onboarding. So once you're on board, then we will take over because we take responsibility on the data integrity. So you don't have to worry about the accuracy. But we do need time to do the accuracy tuning. So the responsibility is on us to give you the accurate data of above 95%. So once you have done the installation and we have actually told you that the live view angle is correct, so you can hands off. So that's when we take over completely, that we will make sure the tuning is done. We will notify you once it's done, so you can notify your customers that they can start getting data. So that's the process. The key features with safe occupancy is that it's real time. So this is a camera at the door. This is usually probably not our usual setup. Our usual setup is we just simply put it onto the ceiling, because a lot of customers would probably have a false ceiling, a suspended ceiling, so you can just put it on there. This particular one, we're drawing your attention that you probably see a heater unit actually here, and that they're using a drop pole. So we have some accessories as well. Please do ask us for that if you require. We have drop pole, different sizing drop pole for different ceiling height, and also wall brackets. So sometimes you want to put it on the wall instead of on the ceiling. It is accurate. Is above 95% accuracy, and as I say, we take responsibility for that. It is efficient because then employees now don't have to stand at the door to man the door. They can now do their usual job of the store operation. It is convenient because for the businesses, it is web-based live occupancy display. Any of all these reportings, they are web-based, so they can access it with any devices with a browser. It is timely, which is important, with the alert to the staff member instantly, so that they can action it. So if they are, because now it's unmanned, because customer can come in as they wish, and if they're ignoring the stop sign, then it will immediately alert the staff member, and they can then go to the door and say, please don't come in. It is scalable, so the same technology can gather also other store data, other in-store analytics, as I mentioned, all the other data that way. So it is scalable in terms of the data collecting and the functionality within the stores. It is also scalable by quantity. So be it whether it is a one-store setup, or if it's just a small retail chain to big multinational chains. So it is privacy friendly. So if you require that, we will share that with you. We are fully GDPR exempt, so we have the documents there, so we can share that for you. So your customer will have a peace of mind that they are not having to worry about the data privacy issue. It is proven because we have already been here for many years. Our system have been used worldwide, many thousands installed case. So it's already a field tested, trial tested system. So I want to talk about the key functions. So you will have we call it the traffic light control at the entrance. So you do need to supply the display. I will tell you all the different display options that you can have shortly. It is a real-time display, so toggle between green when it's within the maximum, and also then become red when it's above the maximum. Now it is a real-time data of less than a second, so it's very fast update. Now this threshold, obviously, you will set it for your customer. It will be different stores probably have different maximum, and it will also be the new maximum. For example, a supermarket, originally they may have a maximum capacity of 500. Or maybe even more, depending on the size. That is usually due to fire regulation. So fire regulation will shoot you from the fire brigade. Will usually say a certain premises can have maximum of how many people. Yeah. So usually they will have that maximum, and then now in order to exercise safe occupancy, they will come down to probably 20 to 30% of their original maximum. So this will be their new maximum. So they will set that. When this is over, they can, or as they are slowly adjusting to that, they can adjust this maximum on the control panel at any time. And when this is over, for example, we have already got a cure or a vaccine, then they would not need to exercise this anymore. Then they can put this to their original maximum or whatever that is. Yeah. So because the reason why then you're asking if you do not have to have the exercise the occupancy limit, why would they still like to put that on? There are many cases. So because we have crowd control, which is usually why they use the occupancy system for, and also for smart buildings, smart offices, that is where they would still continue to want to know the occupancy. Facility utilization. So which room should people go? So they are still using occupancy continuously. So, but I just want to draw the attention that you can actually adjust this capacity level, the threshold. Now that was the customer facing, and this one is the staff facing, the employee facing. So it's for inside the store, for the store manager, for the office manager. So they will see a live line, and also obviously the counting as well. So it will also toggle between the green and the red. The URL can be accessed from any devices. We also, so any devices with a browser, they can just access on the browser. Then we will have the alert for the staff member. So you can have a different way of the app notification, Telegram or email, so that they will then feel that they are really in control, even that they are not at the door. Then you have reports. So this is for them to keep track of the store occupancy level. For example, the store manager will have it at the end of the day. They will be able to see which hour. This is from morning till evening, and this is the last few days, and this is the different hours they have there that are quite full. So then they will know when is a peak hour. They may, if they're seeing a repeating pattern of the peak hour on the specific day, then they will be able to reassign the staff then. So this is for them to be able to make plans based on data. For management level, again, is to see which store again is easily bridged, maybe because of the size, maybe because at the location they are at, many different reasons. But then it allows them to see which store needs more attention and support from them. So maybe they will assign more personnel to that. So now that we also have a widget. So this is a widget for your customer. So we will provide, this is for them to put it on their website, so that they can display the actual live occupancy at the store now. Now we have this requirement before COVID, and we have done this not just for retailers or those that do public services, is also for smart offices, because they want to put it on the intranet so that their staff, their employee can stagger their lunchtime. So that was the idea, and we have already had this before pre-COVID. So now we are putting it, we can supply that when your customer requests that. So this is actually putting it on the website, on your customer website, so that they can help their customers, their shoppers, to pre-plan before they leave the house. So this is a proactive approach to influence the customer traffic. So the idea is that when the shopper, before they leave the house, they will find, okay, a supermarket near me, and then they found the supermarket with this live occupancy. So they will then see that, oh, it's now a bit crowded, so maybe I should go the next hour. So we have a predictive engine there that will predict the rest of the day, the future. We predict that based on historical data. For example, this time last week and the few weeks before, based on those historical data, and also based on the effect this week. So they might have a specific trend this week. Maybe this week is exceptionally high traffic because of the weather or any other reason. So it will take into account of that. So it will predict the rest of today, the next day, so that they can plan their time ahead. It also better manage the customer's expectation, because if I decide to come down anyway, I would kind of like already expect to queue, because retailers are saying people are queuing outside. They have massive queue outside. They find it very stressful because they have to manage that queue, which is outside their premises. Is literally they are queuing into property of others, and also they find it stressful because it becomes a responsibility to keep the social distancing as they're queuing. So they have to keep reminding the customers to keep a 2-meter distance, and also to manage the customer, because obviously customers are not going to be happy when they have to queue for an hour. Lots of argument there. So this is a way that customers have, or businesses have already been requesting. They want to have something to be able to manage, hopefully influence the customer before they come to the store, so that they don't all come at a peak time, because the peak hour can fluctuate throughout the days and can fluctuate throughout the weeks. as well. So it's not always the lunchtime, it's the peak time. For example, in here for a supermarket, it could be the morning, because everyone thinks that later during the day, all the stock would run out. So they are all coming during the morning, exceptionally peak hour. But then it could then change later to people thinking the afternoon will be quieter, so everyone swamped down at the in the afternoon. So this is the idea with the widget for the website. Now we have APIs, so all this data, all the data that we mentioned, can be integrated into your application or your customer's BI system, so business intelligence. So if you work with any retailer, you will be very familiar with that they have, almost all would have a BI system now, and it's quite key for them to want to integrate that into their BI system, because that is where they have their metadata, and people counting footfall is one part of that puzzle. So that is why many retailers are wanting footfall data anyway, even pre-COVID. So many of them already are installing. So we can integrate directly from the counter as well as from the server. So from the counter, you will get the raw data, and from the server, you will also get aggregated data, and also you will have all the health check, error handling in place. But there are reasons why some businesses choose to integrate direct from the camera, and it is possible. And also, obviously, most of them, they are integrating through the server. The data format is JSON, XML, and there are the different ways to integrate that. And it's a real-time data retrieval. There is also a requirement for us to directly control electronic door, vehicle barrier. So we have done many of those. The way we'll be using a relay, a GPIO pin for the NO-NC control to the NO-NC port for the IO pins to control automatic door. So we will have two cables coming out from the camera where you can then connect that up. So we have full wiring diagram. It's actually very straightforward. If you're familiar with this kind of setup, it is quite a very standard relay connection, and we have the wiring diagram for that. So so you can control that so that when you actually have the stop red sign, the door will actually not open. So this will then control them physically not being able to enter. Likewise for the vehicle one as well. So we are only controlling the coming in, so controlling the sensor on the outside for them coming in, whilst not controlling those on the inside, so the people from the inside will still be able to exit, because after all, you want people to leave before you can let other people in. So additional use cases, as I mentioned, we have all these matrices already counting on the camera, regardless whether or not you're having the COVID occupancy system. I will go through that and I'll show you some reports on there. This is actually a very important metrics for not just for retailers, but for a lot of those people, those businesses who are providing services. So they want to know whether or not they have people coming in, like the banks, those telecom telecom shops, offices, and all that. So use cases by industry. For retailers, naturally, what they're wanting to do is the sales conversion rate. This is how many people come in that have made a purchase. So if they have 100 people coming in, and from their EPOS system, which is the till data, they have 20 sales in this hour. So the sales conversion rate is 20%. So they are using this as a KPI to monitor store performances. And this is already a big thing for retail chains. So many big retail chains will already have that, and many more, because this is one key performance index that they can use to monitor all the store performances across the chain. Supermarkets, so apart from footfall counting at the entrance, They can double it up as a queue counting, heat map, zone tracking. They will also use it to pre-plan how many tills they need to open. So for example, if a supermarket have a lot of tills and the store manager now see that they have 50 or 100 people coming in, so quite a lot of customers coming in now. So they know that the typical shopping time in their stores is half an hour. So then they would expect in half an hour time, these 50 people will end up at the till for checkout. So so they can pre-plan and start, planning to open 10 more tills in half an hour time. So that's for supermarket. Hospitals and office buildings, they are using it for smart building control, energy consumption, facility utilization analysis. So they already have requirements and use cases for that. So to extend the system, we have other IoT function, Internet of Things. So we are integrating with a lot of systems, as well as this is providing all the different data and use cases by placing the camera at the different place within the store. At the entrance, naturally, people counting, occupancy counting, CCTV, recording, things like this. On the inside, for zone alert, zone analysis, heat map, ESL, electronic shelf label, queue counting at the till, double up as a Wi-Fi hotspot to provide Wi-Fi access to their shoppers, path tracking, and all the others. We also have a virtual shelf digital signage as well that we get integrated. So there are many different functions. We have, I have this, which I won't go through. This is an integrated system slides, but if you're interested, then if there is any requirement from your customers already for heat map, for CCTV, for digital signage, for product level conversion, this is quite a very big thing for supermarkets and for big commodity company like Unilever that we have worked with already for many years. Wi-Fi hotspot, PA system, staff exclusion, facial recognition, queue counting, shelf label. So we have quite a lot of that. So we have these slides. If you require that, please request, and then we can share that with you. We could also go through with you at another day. So coming back to this, this is now then the different display options, because we provide you with the camera, but you have a few options to how you want to display that. So the most popular one, and probably the most convenient one, will be an Android tablet. We have an Android app, so any Android tablet that is version 9 and above. So you can supply that to your customer with a stand most of the time. So you connect that tablet with Wi-Fi to their stored Wi-Fi, then they will be able to display the traffic light dashboard there. For that. The other option is to use the computer. Now, it can be any computer the store already have, their own laptop, desktop, connecting to a monitor. So with a computer, they can go onto a browser, so then they will be able to use an app, as well as also using a browser. So this could be displayed at the front door, at the door for customer-facing dashboard, as well as also for inside the store for the employee facing dashboard. So usually with a computer, with a browser. Now, but then we have a requirement from customers that they don't want to use the tablet because the tablet is a small screen. They already have a big 42-inch screen, a monitor at the store, but that monitor is display only. They don't have a computer. So either they don't have an old computer, or they find that the computer is very bulky to have to install it at the door. So we provide them with a mini computer. So this mini computer is like the size of the palm, and you can VESA mount it at the back of the monitor. So it will be connected via a HDMI cable. So we provide that to you, so you can then turn any display monitor, any TV screen into the dashboard. So we provide that at a price of about $200 US dollars. That is your reseller price. So you obviously charge accordingly to your own customer. Now, we also have a digital signage. This is our other product, which is the Magic Mirror. We have a 24-inch as well as a 55-inch. So again, any digital signage that already have a computer on board, you will be able to use that because you can just go onto the app or go onto the browser to go onto the URL link to do that. We also supply that. This is obviously more expensive, is about $1,500 per device because it is a fully functional digital signage. It is also an interactive one. So we have a camera there as well as a touchscreen. Our product, Magic Mirror, is actually for interactive digital signage, for brand immersion, for a kiosk, ordering kiosks for fast food chains, wayfinding kiosks for shopping malls. So we have been doing that. This is our different product line. So this is more expensive, but then we have demand for that. So as I say, the most popular one will be Android. That's probably the easiest thing that you can supply your customer as well. But we do have businesses coming back to say they will have no any more future use for tablet. So they're not keen on investing in 500 tablets, because if they have 500 stores, that's what they need. So they're not interested in investing in that, on something that they do not want to use. But every stores, every businesses will want to use a digital signage anyway. So be it in to display advertisement or anything that they want to display on there, they have a use case on there. So they're more prepared to invest on another digital signage. And because this is an interactive one, so they find that they will have a lot of use cases after that for brand immersion, for marketing, for all those customer interaction that they can use. So these are the different display options that you can make use. You might find that different customers might require different things. Of course, this is 24-inch. The bigger size one is 55-inch. So again, sometimes why customers wanting a display, a digital signage instead of the Android tablet is because of the size of it. So they might want a bigger display screen instead. Now, case studies, we have already implemented more than this now, because these slides we have not updated from a few weeks ago. So government departments are one of the first one to come to contact us for requests, and also supermarkets, because those are the ones that have that were able to open throughout the lockdown period, and they are the ones who were really needing to have the occupancy control in place. Now, one of the example, Hong Kong government facility, we have done in more countries now. So mainly are those that are providing a public service, which they have to provide this public service throughout the lockdown. So like the passport application, visa extension, so the immigration department, the customs, those import export, because trade is still going on, they need to import and export. So those customs officers, citizens, the ID card replacement centers, all those things that are providing public services. Because with all this government facility, as you know how a government facility is, they are always packed in their waiting room. Sorry, I'm going to have some water. They're always packed in their waiting room. They have to put something in place, and it is because they are the one who impose the safe distancing regulation. So obviously they have to be shown that they are exercising that. I want to draw your attention here is the multi-language that we can have display on there. But of course, you need to provide us with the translation. Supermarkets, naturally, DIY stores. We have done many DIY stores before, because for some reason when people are in a lockdown, they then tend to do their home improvement, and DIY stores is one that have been allowed to stay open. So there were queues and queues out there for those stores. Sports stores we have done. They have been one of the first one to install as well. Sports chains naturally with that. So they're wanting a live occupancy. This is something we have done pre-COVID, which I want to share here because we can see how they are using it for crowd control. So pre-COVID, the occupancy was for facility management, for like smart buildings, but the more important one is for crowd control, where it is actually a mission critical for them. So for stadiums, for this is the mosque in Saudi Arabia, where the Muslims from the whole world will pay pilgrimage to the mosque once in their lifetime. So that is their dream. So this is where they have a very big capacity, and in peak traffic they do have that 1.5 million people, probably more, trying to get in there. So it is a mission critical crowd control for stadiums, for concert hall, for exhibition hall, those where they have big crowds and they need to control that. So I want to zoom in on this dashboard so to explain a little how they are using that. So if you can see here that on there, so this is their, if I show you there, this project involves more than 2,000 counters. So they have the counters at all the individual store entrances going in there. So all the different individual door going into the inner circle. So with this, we combine of the data, the in and the out from all this store, then provide an occupancy in the area. They have sub area as well. So hence they are needing that many counters. Going through the inner circle, central court, all those peripheral buildings. So they have two thresholds. The first threshold is usually at about 60% of their capacity. So you can adjust that. Now for COVID-19, we only have one capacity, but this is what we have done before, is usually for crowd control, we want to have a buffer zone. Because they do not have a new capacity, they are going on to their actual maximum capacity. So they want to have a buffer. So they will have the first threshold usually at about 60% of their main maximum capacity. Anything below that is green, they don't have to worry about. And then they will have a second threshold, usually about 85 to 90% of their maximum. So in between these two thresholds, it will be yellow. And then as this will then be sorted based on, which one is based on the occupancy. Then this is then for the security manager at the control room being able, this is actually a full live dashboard in the control room, very big screen. So they are looking at this all the time so that they can see, all right, we need to plan to deploy staff into this area. Anything over the second threshold will be red. Security guard should already be there exercising one out, one in control. So this is how we have been doing the occupancy prior to COVID. So sales and marketing support, what we will be explaining, which is quite specific. Obviously, you are best at selling. You're an expert in selling to your customer, to your market sector. But I like to share with you what is more specific to this market sector. Now, the key markets, the characteristic of the demand is that for this market, it is immediate and it is high demand. So, which is a very special scenario. You don't get this combination because anything that is in high demand, it is a commodity. So anything that is new, that has just come out, it wouldn't be high demand. It will go through a phases until it becomes a high demand. So, but now we actually have a high demand and it's immediate. What does that mean? That means that demand is there, the market is there, people are ready to buy, but the supply is insufficient. The supply is very, very low. So you're almost getting a massive demand there whilst you actually probably be the one or two having the solution to supply to the market. So, and the demand will last for at least a year, because many governments have already said social distancing has to be exercised until we find a cure. And they are foreseeable, you know, it will be for the next 12 months. And now it is summer in here in the northern hemisphere, winter in the southern hemisphere. But in here in northern hemisphere now, they are, because we have the lockdown and everything can be quite stable. But scientists have already pre-warned, and it is the biggest fear is that it will come back with an even higher peak in the end of the year, the winter coming. So they are very, very cautious about that. So the demand is there. So even if businesses are not ready to respond immediately and install now, they're almost having to install for the winter. So these few months will be very busy for you. Now, we target the key decision makers, the top management level. Usually, if you are selling a high demand or selling any devices or any products, it wouldn't be them, the directors that are buying from you. They will have their own procurement team, or they will just assign that task to someone to take care of it. So, and usually if you may have a contact in a company and you will need to start working upwards from that contact to the different department. Now that sales cycle is extremely long, and the success rate may not be there. But you will find that this one, the key decision maker, is actually from the top down, from the top level, because it is very new. This thing is very new. It is a very serious situation where they need to make strategic decision. So having a occupancy control system in place, it is their strategic decision. So it is them who is making it. So with this, you're probably familiar. If the decision comes from top down, it is so easy to make a purchase, because whoever ended up being assigned with that, they will have the budget and they already have the instruction to buy. So for them, that's why the sales cycle is also exceptionally short, not only because of the seriousness of the situation, also because they are needing to have that installed prior to them opening. So because that's why we have been installing thousands in the past few weeks, because businesses have already started planning to reopen, and we have rollouts upon rollout with our partners. Already we have been exceptionally busy. It is something where our team of 94 couldn't cope the workload. So we are really snowed under, because we really have literally all national rollout in many countries, especially those very seriously affected in Europe, in US. So we got, and that's why the sales cycle, because of the situation, and also because the decision comes from top down. So there is no hurdle to go through. So you'll find the sales cycle is actually 3 weeks. From the moment you approach the customers, they will straight away probably want to have a meeting the next day almost. They have to make the decision end of the week. So you will find that. And also they will probably demand that you'll be able to start installing next week, or kind of like ASAP. And the demand will usually be a national rollout. You may find that they are skipping all those formal bidding process. They might get a few around to quote, but they're skipping the formal bidding process. They are also skipping any pilot studies. They might install the 10 just to start off, but then almost immediately they will have to roll it out, because they don't have the time to wait for that. Having any system in place for them is better than nothing, because is costing them millions for every day that they are closing. So we do have a very high conversion rate. Sorry, I have explained a little bit too much on here, but it's because it's quite special. I thought, I would like to share that. Now, the target markets, naturally supermarkets, DIY stores, fast food chains, because this is one that usually do not need footfall counting because they just have, anyone that comes into their store, they buy. So they can just look at the till and they would know how many customers they have already on that day. So, but now they need it because this is where they have got to be able to control how many people go in there to queue. Retail stores, naturally, public venues, public services where banks, shopping malls, government facilities, as we mentioned before, hospitals, offices, because they're now allowing people to go back to work, but then they have to control. Libraries and museums. On there, getting started for partners. So we have an evaluation kit. You can ask us for that. We give you a discounted price so that you can have that. Now, the idea of that is so that you can either install it at your office, but a lot of we share a lot of the better use of this because this is at a discounted rate. So, but it is a full license. So you can actually sell it to your customer, obviously with a much bigger margin. But that is actually a way to kickstart because a lot of new reseller or our existing reseller with us, they're finding sometimes it's the initial start, isn't it? So initial start where you do not have a customer or you do not have a case studies. We obviously have lots of case studies we can share with you and you can share with them and say, this system has been installed in many different places. But for you, you're almost wanting to find a first real cases, real install base. So we encourage our reseller, and that's what our resellers is telling us as well. What they're doing is they're probably offering a free trial. Obviously, they call it free trial because then they can retrieve that if they need to a local business. So anyone or any customers that they're talking to. Now, because those retailers, if it's a free trial, as long as you provide that, and because of the situation now, is a why not? Why not? Let's have it. That then serves you two purposes. One is that you immediately have a real case demo. Second, which is more importantly, that gets your foot in with them. So immediately you are one of the suppliers they will consider because you're so quick to do a free trial. All that it costs you is your installation of the one cable. So that's why a lot of resellers are finding that is an investment worthwhile. It also, get you to go in with your customer immediately. Now, I will explain a little bit more on the timing. So you will sign up with our program. We have all these lists here, and then we do have the price list that we can share with you. Now, how are we going to help you in your market? Because in your specific region, one, it will be a web page, because after all, people still, because especially now, which is such a new product that the customer is finding, and everyone is at home. Even your customers is working from home, so they are finding solutions online naturally. So having a page that will drive you business, and that's what all our resellers are telling us. They just say the response is exceptional, and also depending on which country you are, some countries are just really because of the situation being so serious, the response is really more than they can cope. We have the reseller media pack, which you can download here. Where you have all the contents that you can use, you can translate that. If you go to our webpage, you can also get any images that you need. Ask us if you need to have any videos that we can share, so you can put it on there. The keywords that we can share with you, that works for us. But if you find any specific keywords that you find that is actually drawing you a lot of business, do share with us as well. So that we know. So it's kind of like a community here. We find that sending out cold emails to the CEO and directors really work. This is what we call. So we traditionally we call it a cold calls, but because now you're not calling them, we are actually emailing them. So what you do is you Google search all your supermarkets, all the retail stores that you like, those big chains that is in your country. So you find those names. You'll be surprised. there are so many that are so big with so many chains that you're not aware of. That is the experience from myself and also from a lot of our resellers. And they'll say that, oh, actually, I didn't know there's so many different supermarket brands in my country. They all know the big ones, but you'd be surprised, all those less well-known ones, they actually have many, many stores. There are hardly any supermarkets that have only just a few stores. So all of them are big volume anyway. So, and also all the other retail chains. So what you do is you find out this list, and then you just search for the managing director, the sales director, operation director, because these are key office holder. Their names is usually public. It will be very easily for you to find the names of the directors for a particular corporation. So you'll find the name. Obviously, it's not that easy to find their specific email, but you can then find someone in that company, anyone from that company, an email that will then be easily found as well. So you probably find one of those. You will then see a pattern. It's usually first name dot last name at supermarket.com. When you found that, then you'll be able to email directly to the directors, and you will be surprised the conversion rate is very, very high. We are seeing more than 11%. So now we are considering a bulk email effort, and with a 11% conversion rate of directors coming back to you to say they're interested. So that is almost at a no cost to you with that. So that's why with the Google AdWords, there's still some cost to you, but with this, it is a very highly effective one. So I thought we will share, because we also have a lot of resellers coming back to us and telling us that it really works. Now, cold calls usually do not work, and many salespeople do not like it because it's not effective. But why is this so effective? It is because, as I mentioned before, the key decision makers now are the top management. For all the other commodity, the key decision are not the directors. So if you're trying to sell them a tablet, maybe. If you're trying to sell them a tablet, the directors say, this is not what I'm looking at. I have a procurement team. If my business need tablet, my procurement team will take care of it. So they're not interested. So you won't get a conversion rate. But now, because the key decision are them, the makers are them. So, and also this is something now bothering them. This is high up in their agenda. So they're thinking, day in, day out about how they can manage that so that they can reopen their business without any impact on their own career. So they want to make sure that they have the correct measures in place before they reopen. So that's why they will usually very welcome your cold emails, actually. They will find it very timely. So I would say do this sooner rather than later, because otherwise your competitor would have already done that, and they would have already done a free trial by the time you come around to it. So these are probably the thing that you need to do. Bear in mind, the sales cycle is very short. So if they have already installed something, this is not the time for them to then change a different supplier. So you'll find that they are very tolerant with you once they have decided to go with you, because they just couldn't afford to change supplier. And likewise, if they have already decided on a supplier from someone else, then it's very difficult for them to change to you. But the good thing about that is because the market is so huge. So if a customer that you are approaching have already got a system in place, not to worry, obviously you won't waste any more time with them. You will just approach all the others, because the market is now exceptionally big. And very little supplier because of the immediate high demand. We will also share this PowerPoint template, any other slides that we have, so that you can make use of all these material in there. You do want to emphasize is the speed and ease of deploying the solution. We will also pass local leads to our partners, to our registered partners, because then they will be able to handle them, the leads. We also have what we call a ring fencing. we lock down the leads for you. So you won't be able to ring fence if you haven't contacted the customer. So usually is that you are already working with this customer and they are already very interested in your solution, and you're in talk with them. At that point, you want to protect your interests. So what you do is you will tell our sales team that you're now working with this customer, what stage you have worked on to, what work you have already invested in. We will then tell you if some of our reseller have already ring fenced. If some of our reseller already ring fenced, then you will know, then you don't have to waste any more time. You move on to your other leads. Or if there isn't, then we ring fence it for you, we protect it so that that customer will not be able to come to us directly or to any of our other resellers. So this is then protecting your interest. So we do that. Now, we also have many resellers asking us, what is the winning speech when they want to promote this COVID-19 solution? Now, we want to share, the business owner wants to be seen as using a high-tech, scientifically driven method. They can use many methods, as mentioned. They can use security card, a manual method. They can use any method, but they want to be seen as using a high-tech, scientifically driven, especially when this is actually very low cost to them. It's probably the lowest cost to them than any other alternative methods. So this two combination is very key. The reason with this, why they need that, is because they know people do not trust another person. Because a person is very subjective. Your customer's going to argue with your security guard and say, look, your store is so empty, why don't you let me go in? I've already queued here for an hour, I'm not happy. Your employee is also going to suspect whether or not the security guard is doing their job because they see so many customers inside the store that they have to serve, and they also always question, why would a business actually limit their customer and reduce sales? So there are always with that in mind. And worst of all, when this happens, the business have no evidence to prove. So a display screen is transparent. A report is also an evidence that can provide, is obviously cost effective as well. The reason is they obviously need to comply with that, otherwise they wouldn't have speak with you in the first place. A widget at the website is again a key selling point, is a competitive advantage. They are being seen by a wider public, the whole community, that they're actually taking a proactive approach to influence their customer before they're at the store, before they come to the store. So this is quite key. Now, the other thing is obviously it is off the shelf. It's not something they can, you will find that all these big corporations, they have the ability to build their own, or they already have a system integrator that can come up with something for them. But what they're needing now is ready to use. They have to have it now. Because with any technology development take a very long time, and not only just on the software coding, is we're not talking about just the bugs, is about understanding how the system needs to use, is understanding the challenges in any system. Of course, with any of this occupancy system is accuracy. So it is a very high accuracy. We are verified with a video proof. Again, we have a proof for our accuracy, whereas other systems would not. There is long-term usage and easy to repurpose. So now I will go through the enterprise class software. You will have many pages here, some more details. I will actually show you the real one, but I'll show you here so that when you get these PowerPoint slides, you will be able to know that you can actually go to a link for the report and all those different links for the different reports example that we have, and also what the management control can have and the health check and maintenance tool. So I'm going to my, so this is a live dashboard. So this is where, for example, this store have 3 counters. So they have 3 entrances. This is their main entrance. As you can see, this is where mainly people come in. They have people going out here as well, but they mainly go out from this I think this is Dutch, they call it Uitgang. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, but there you go. So, and also this is a side entrance. So there are multiple entrances. So we're combining all the counts from all the 3 cameras and give you a occupancy of the store. And as you can see, the updates is every second. Actually less than a second. If you see, it counts less than a second. So this is where for this particular one, they actually have a security guard anyway in their supermarket, but then they don't have to have increased level of security guards. They can have just the one security guard who was looking at this screen all the time. So they monitor keep an eye on their occupancy. If that goes higher, then the security guard can then go to the door and make sure people don't come in. They will have it here on there, which is because this is then you can log in with the URL and you can then access all this space occupancy dashboard. And also this is a different dashboard that they will see. This is our newer dashboard that we create. So this one is throughout the day. You will notice that this is actually, you wouldn't see, you are actually seeing a few seconds apart. You wouldn't get a bigger picture of how it was throughout the day. So this is one from opening till the end. So it can be a 24-hour time. So this is then telling them where they are at. Again, this is where we set their so green, you know, the first threshold, the second threshold, and then it will tell them that obviously they can adjust the threshold. So they can, this is up to them to adjust what they are wanting it to be. So this is the live occupancy. So this is something we need to create for you. So if you are needing the occupancy, you do need to notify us. So what it is, according to, we will send you the user guide. According to the user guide, what you need to do is that you need to go into our support portal here and then raise a ticket to say you're wanting to have the occupancy dashboard for which store, for which camera. Then we will be able to set that up for you. But what I want to show you here is also we have the analytics center. So this is more for footfall and for occupancy, where they can compare their different stores. So they can compare the different stores here for different times so that they can look at the different metrics. So these are the different matrices. Apologies again, this is in Dutch. So there will be a visitor count, you know, how many people are outside, all those. Company level report, this is for top management. You have different reports there. Site level report, this is for store manager. So I can show you a sample report there. For live occupancy, so this is for, we install for Amway. So they have many big offices. So if you're installing 2 or 3 counters on the ground floor entrances, you will then be able to get the total occupancy of the building. Then in the second phase, if you then install cameras at the lift and the staircase, escalators to all the different floors, you will then be able to split this total occupancy to floor level occupancy. And each floor you give them a capacity, then you can see which floor is full. So for example, what we have done for, we are doing for a big American scientific lab. They have thousands of hospitals in New York and throughout America. What they are wanting is that outside of the lift, they are putting a 42-inch screen on there. Then they will then, when this lift door open, it will tell them whether or not they should enter this floor. With the green and red screen, and then if they shouldn't, which floor should they go to? This is for the employee, so that they can go and find a desk they can work on. So as people come out first floor, they should usually already have a red sign there, and they will say that second floor is underutilized, you can go on to the second floor. So this is purpose where for multi-story buildings, big buildings there. So, and then if they then on the third phase, that's when they usually then install more cameras inside into the individual room, and then we can give them individual room occupancy. Again, this is very important for offices, because now the employee has come into this floor, which room can they go and sit to work? So previously, prior to COVID-19, this is only for them to know that, okay, this room is always underutilized, I should repurpose this room, or how do I relay out my facility? So it was for that purpose, it was for facility utilization analysis, but now actually then they can then double that up now for really occupancy control in the room, so that the employee know where to go. Big lecture hall, likewise, previously is that if they're finding it underutilized, then they can split into 2 smaller lecture halls, seminar rooms, or now they obviously make sure the seminars are run with a reduced occupancy. So they are obviously controlling that. Universities are doing that now because they're already planning for when they come back. They are planning a lot of online lectures, as well as underutilized, so less occupancy in the lecture halls. So when the lecture halls is full, then they will then obviously get everyone else to connect online. Also for laboratories, because universities, whilst they can do lectures online, their laboratories, they have to make sure that they split up those lab works at different times, and that they need to make sure that they have the correct occupancy at any point. So this is for them. So the market is really opening up to a lot of different industries. Now this is a cafeteria area. This is where we have the widget we mentioned before, where the company can stagger their employee lunch time. So because naturally, if they have a catering facility on premise, then lunchtime is obviously their peak hour, and the catering staff is always complaining we couldn't serve. Staff is always complaining that the queue is so long and they couldn't find a place to sit. So this is where we built the widget for them on the intranet, so that they can employee, before they leave the desk, they will be able to judge whether they should go now or they should go later. So this is a occupancy one. We also have company level. This is for footfall. This is something that they are already counting, and this is what we mentioned for retailers. They really wanting you to use this, and also this is way long-term usage, long-term benefit for them, way beyond COVID-19. So this is footfall, how many people have come into the store throughout their estate, how long they stay in there, sales conversion, best store, worst store, across the region, on the map, visitor count by month, by week, by day compared to last year, whether or not they have improved the trend. Turn-in rate, which is the outside traffic, number of people outside that actually come in. So the bar is the footfall, the line is outside traffic. So they will be able to see where they actually have more opportunity. So obviously, naturally, when you have more people outside, you have more people coming in. But you will see that the outside traffic is still very high, but you have less people come in. So store manager will see that this is an opportunity that they can do something outside their store to draw people in. And they may see that they really should be closing an hour earlier to save costs, because there really isn't anybody outside and nobody is actually coming in. So things like this. Visit duration, how long they stay in your store compared to last year. What is the split, the percentage of people who just walk in and go out, who are really browsing and who are really making a purchase, or whether or not your store is not doing the selling too efficient, so people are staying there longer than than the business expect. Returning customer, how many percentage are your loyal customer, how you can improve that, if you have any campaign, whether or not that improve. Sales conversion, obviously naturally very important for retailers. Marketing effectiveness report, this is when the marketing department really need it. So in any marketing department, they probably spend most of the company's budget and yet they hardly have any data to see which campaign works better than the other. They don't have data to do their A/B testing. So this is where they can put in the start and end date of their campaign. They can look at the effect on visitor count, before, during, and after, and also look at that, what is the impact on turning rate, on returning customer, if they're doing a newsletter to their members, you know, if they're having more of that, and sales conversion, naturally. Staff planning, so you have footfall to staff level. This one, obviously, we do integration. So with the sales conversion, we do integration with the EPOS system. With staff planning, we do integration likewise with their staff planning software. And then we will tell them when they're understaffed. This is the last 7 days. This is 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So things like this. So we're telling them when they're understaffed, when they're overstaffed, because overstaffed, that's how much cost they have wasted. If it's understaffed, this is how much missed sales opportunity they have missed. If they have the appropriate staff level, then they might have been able to capture those sales. And also prediction. So this is when we have where we have predictive engine. We predict the footfall based on historical data, usually on previous years, and also obviously affected by this year's trend. And then with that, we kind of like make a prediction of what staff planning, how many team of staff you need at what time or which day. Zone analytics, because we have the Wi-Fi data, so we know that, you know, a phone has been here and then in there. So with this one, because otherwise, with a very big area like shopping mall, it will be very difficult to count how many people are in that area unless you install many cameras. So that is not an economical way to do that, because obviously shopping malls are huge. So with the one camera in a specific zone, based on the Wi-Fi tracking, we'll be able to tell you how many people are there. So based on that, you would know that which zone is more crowded, and also you will know that where people go. So when they come into the main entrance, where they then move to and where they then move on to. So for example, if you have a shopping mall, they have a main foyer area where they run an exhibition or a show, then do people then go home straight away, or do they go to the different places, the food court, or, you know, or the different area? This one we do a lot for shopping malls, but now the trend is on campuses for universities. So they want to know which buildings people go through, you know, where the students move, the movement throughout the day, again, is for facility management. For museums, likewise, they want to know that. So, these are the different reports that we've gone through with that. We also have product level sales conversion, because if we then put a camera inside the store, we know where people interact with which product. We will be able to give that product level engagement, whether or not the customer engage with the product, how long they stay in there. Now, we also do fast food restaurants. One of it is KFC Global. They have 15,000 stores worldwide. They also have Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. So we work directly with KFC Global in the head office in America. So this is similar things that we have done for them. What they are interested in is in the queue time, how long people queue coming into their store, how long it takes for them to order, and how long they have to wait to pick up their food, you know, which table is occupied and which one is ready, which one is empty but is dirty. There are still food on top of the table which they need to clean up, which dustbin is full now that they need to clean up, things like this. So we have different reports. So you will notice that we have customized report, and we do customization for all the different businesses, because they just have different requirements specifically. But I want to draw your attention here is that it is an enterprise level software. Being enterprise level is that you are able to maintain your different stores. I will come down to here where it's English. Sorry. So where you could do is you come here to set up your branch. You set up all the cameras underneath there. So then this is where your branch is, and then your camera, I think is this one. You set up your email planner, notification, alert, import, export. You set up your users. So one of that is the users. So you set up your users so they can, usually the IT department will use that. So this is user management, device management, and then also with maintenance. So with here is an issue tracker with all the cameras there. When it's blue, it means everything is working. If there's any system message, it will be here. They can log a support ticket here or on the support portal. We will feedback there. I want to draw your attention here, which is the verification report. So when you have installed a camera, as long as you paired it, so you need to set up the site, you need to tell us which serial number it is for that site, because without that, we have thousands of cameras out there. We do not know which camera belongs to who. So you need to set that up on your portal here. Once it's set up, we automatically see that on your system. And we have a full team. We actually have a specialist team that actually only focus on doing verification. So what they see, if they see a camera that has not been verified, they will then start the process. So what they do is then, I will show you a verification report, which is like this. So what they do is they will record a video, because usually you need to access into the camera. So once they see the camera is connected to our system and it's not verified, then the first thing they do is they will schedule recordings. So they usually schedule multiple recordings throughout that day. Then the video needs to be recorded and then being uploaded to the server. So sometimes we will upload it during the day, but we have a lot of businesses, maybe some of your customers will choose not to upload videos, because video files obviously is big files, and you're talking about a half an hour recording or an hour recording. Many businesses choose to only allow uploading videos at night because they don't want to affect the till. Counting data is very, very small file size because we're only just uploading the number to our server every second. So you're talking about kilobytes, a few kilobytes. So it's very short. So that's not affecting the bandwidth at all. But with the video, many people choose to only upload at midnight. So that is the process where we then upload it. We have the team watch the video. We run an offline simulator. So they will then draw the counting line. And then what they do is they actually sit down there and do the actual counting. So if it's a half an hour video, they have to sit there for half an hour to do the manual counting. The video looks like this. So there, I'll probably speed that up. So you'll be able to watch that. Probably need to refresh that. I might have a very slow internet connection because we are on a Zoom meeting. Or what I'll do is I will actually click on the link again. If I couldn't, when you actually download this report, you'll be able to watch it yourself. All right, my internet connection is really slow. So basically what it is the camera looked down onto the floor. I'll probably show you a video. This is the video at Mecca. So the camera looked top down onto the floor, and with the 3D camera, we actually see a person height. So the number on top of the head is the height of the person. So that's how we are detecting them. And what we do is when we have the video, we run the simulator, we will then draw the counting zone. So this red zone is the tracking area. So we will only track the people who are moving within the red zone. Anything that is outside the red zone will not be tracked, because this is then, because our human eye, obviously, we know where there are people moving and what we want to consider. For example, you have movement over there, but that is a different corridor. So we don't want to take into consideration. So from a computer, you need to tell them. So this is then where you need to draw the tracking zone. And then we have the counting line. So this direction is out. The blue line is out, the green line is in. So we will be drawing a line that way. We also have, apart from this simple drawing, where you couldn't see here is the choice of the different algorithm that we use, because each different image processing algorithm, they are optimized for a specific scenario. Some are for high traffic, some are for different scenario. And so we need to set that up, because you literally need to tell the computer how you want them to count. We also have AI in place. So that is, again, something that we need to tell the computer about. So these are all the setup that we do at the back end. Now, many new resellers, they're coming on board. Because of our workload currently, we are very sorry we were not able to manage your expectation from the beginning. Many of our resellers who have been with us for many years, obviously they have gone through this system. They are fully aware of our processes. So you may not know the processes that we put in here. You probably have not installed any people counting or 3D counting before. You might have wrongly expect that once you put the camera up there, it will count. But because this is AI in a way is a machine. So in order for a machine to be intelligent, you need to teach it. You need to tell them what you want them to do, because otherwise they are just a machine. So this is a process that we need to put in place. If you've got any supplier out there that say is very easy for you to configure, then you can probably immediately know that's not going to be accurate, because this is a very high-tech system. You almost need expert knowledge. How would a person who hasn't got the expert knowledge with the AI and machine learning, or even the image processing algorithm, be able to set up the system to be above 95%? They can always claim, many businesses obviously claim what they have, but at the end of the day, do they provide the proof to you is another question. That is why we have actually swapped out many brands. We have already swapped out many brands out there. The reason being is always that it is not accurate. Now, I have to be fair and honest that any 3D camera will be accurate because of the 3D technology. It is the most accurate now available. And this is the technology that NASA and also even the European space program that sent the Mars rover to planet Mars. So they're sending a machine that look like WALL-E. If you watched the movie WALL-E, they're sending that machine onto Mars, obviously unmanned. So that machine, that rover, will need to maneuver the terrain. So I'll probably show you something here. If I can still get my connection. Sorry, just out of interest, out of here. So it looks something like this. So you can see that they're actually having a 3D camera out there. So this, you'll notice our design is like this. We are actually referencing the Mars rover, because this is the best place to put the cameras that way, and the width. So they obviously have far more cameras on board on the rover, but this is where they can actually maneuver the terrain and know the distance from the rover, so whether the rover should move forward or turn around. So something like this. So cutting that short, sorry. So this is where it is the most accurate. But however, so a lot of other 3D cameras there, they have this technology. They are able to see the depth map. But in order to improve the accuracy is how you train your camera, what kind of AI you have put it in. So the camera is seeing the person's height, but you need to tell them how you want to count them going in, how you want to count them going out, in what situation you don't want to count them at all, like staff exclusion, or actually some people who just pop their head in and go out again, or in-store activity. There are quite a lot of different scenarios there. So it is very involving, and you need expert knowledge in that. So, so that is verification. So this is coming back to the software again. This is where they will get the report. So the reports again looks like this. So combining a few video and the manual count, because we sit there to manual count how many people are coming in and out, compare with the system count. With this system count, obviously you can cross-check on the software already. So with all this data here, all those reporting there, you will be able to know that hour, what we have counted, so compared to this manual count. And your customer and yourself will also be able to just click on that video and do the counting yourself. So this is very transparent, is probably the best evidence that you need for an accuracy. And combining the field video, you can have a total observation there. So we observe 119, the system counted 3 less, and hence the accuracy is 97%. So this is something that you prove to your customer that is now installed and the data is now 97%. You can start using the data now. So, and this accuracy will stay forever, because there's no moving part there. Unless someone moves the camera, the environment stays the same. But there is also the other advantage. For example, like I mentioned, we have already replaced many different brands out there because they say it's not accurate. The reason being is because a lot of retailers are using the KPI, the sales conversion, as a KPI to monitor the store performance. So they will say to a store and say, hey, you know, you have not been performing very well. You have a lot of people come in, but your sales is not good. So what they say is that people counting system is not accurate. So what can the top management do? They can just change brand. Whereas with here, you can say, okay, if you question the accuracy, you go here and record a video. So you schedule a video. Obviously, we do not record it by default. You only record it when you require that. Now, a lot of time it is best that you notify us as well, so that we do that for you. Because so the store can record the video and watch the video and see whether or not it's accurate. If it's accurate, then they can tell the store and say, look, the data is accurate. If it's not accurate, you can notify us, raise a support ticket there, and then we will do a re-verification. So maybe something has changed. Maybe they have some specific scenario that we haven't handled before, we couldn't see, and now we see this scenario and we'll be able to put in the handling in place. So this is how you maintain your system. We also have health check in place. So in here, you will have we connect to the camera throughout the day to check that is online, that is counting, and the data is coming into the server. So if there's anything that is not having the data, it will tell you why it's offline, any reason there, and why it's not accurate if there is. And an alert will be sent out. So that you don't have to log in here in order to see if whenever there is an issue, an alert will be sent out. So apart from this, we also have a data integrity report, which I noticed that it's not showing here because of my internet connection. You will be able to see it on the slide here, which is a data integrity report here, this one. So with this is, I wouldn't be able to get it because my internet connection is so bad. If I click on it, it probably won't load, but you can see that. So this is with this, we have, we health check whether or not your camera has data. Now, this is your camera does have data, whether that data is good enough to use. So we put in a lot of measures in place because how many people come in should go out at the end of the day. So we should have a discrepancy of less than 5%. Why is it not 100%? Because no system is 100% accurate. And we claim that it has to be above 95%. So we're looking at a discrepancy that is less than 5%. If there's anything more, we will send you an alert. And also there are also all the other measures in place for the system to cross-check whether or not there is an abnormal data. Maybe it's abnormally high for your store or abnormally low for your store. Now, and that is specific for the store. So that is where the AI comes in place and the machine learning comes in place, because each camera will have their own specific trend. So this is not something, if you do not have that, then you might have installed a system and during the installation you find that it's accurate, but you might find you would never know that the accuracy has gone at a different scenario because you installed it at 2 p.m. And you did the and you saw the accuracy there at 2 p.m. So what if at 5 p.m. you suddenly have a big crowd and the camera is not counting accurately? So you would not have the knowledge of that for it to account. So this is where you would need all those AI and machine learning in place. So this is our enterprise level software. As we mentioned, this you get a lifetime license to it. There's no subscription fee to our software. As long as you purchase a camera, you will then have access to the data from there. Now, I want to quickly talk to you about the hardware before I finish. So as you saw the Mars rover there just now, this is what we're referencing. Our design is a bit engineering, so it's not very, as you know, those dome shape static one. The other reason is because we're using a steel alloy casing. So all the other cameras out there are plastic casing. There are reasons for that. One is cheaper to produce. The second one is they can mold it to whatever shape they like to make it a very designer look. But with the metal casing, we have a very practical reason for that. One is because we are actually doing all this image processing on board. So we actually need a very powerful processor there. So we actually have a full computer there. Whereas all the other cameras, they are more, a traditional camera is a camera chipset. So a camera chipset usually is not that powerful because it only do one function, which is seeing, which is doing a video. Whereas a computer, obviously like your laptop, it is designed to allow you to run many programs on it. So we're putting a proper processor down there. Obviously they heat up. That's why your laptop is metal, and when you touch a laptop, it's warm. The reason is because the metal is used for heat dissipation. So the reason for heat dissipation is twofold. One is to increase the durability, because the one thing that can prolong the life of any computer is that you don't let it overheat. So heat dissipation is very important. And with this steel casing, because the whole thing is steel, so the camera is able to dissipate heat, throughout to the environment. Our mean time to failure, which is our lifespan, is 25 years. So your customer will naturally have already replaced and upgrade the system way before that. The other thing is also to keep the CPU at an optimal operating temperature so that it doesn't hang. So that, because we're needing to run intensive image processing algorithm, those are very intensive. It's not like running your Word or your Excel spreadsheet. It is a very intensive image processing, and you are talking about real time, because we need to process multiple frames per second, because a person walking through the doors in seconds. They don't take a long time to walk past the door. So we need that real time, we need that speed, and then intensive processing power. The other thing we put down is a triple redundancy on our OS, the operating system. This one we reference the aircraft. Now your aircraft will have engines on each side of the wings. The design of that is that should one engines fail and you end up with only just the one engine, this one engine will be able to land you safely. That's the design of the aircraft. So it's a little over engineering for us that we put in 3 OS. Now your laptop or your electronic device will only have one operating system. Now when that hangs, which is very common, when you have switched it on for a long time, it will just hang or slow down. What you do is you reboot it. Now, but now when you're installing on the ceiling, and when you have installed thousands of them at your customer site, the last thing you do is to go and reboot it. So therefore we put in 3 OS on there. So when the first one hangs, which is a very common occurrence, then the second will continue the counting. So you wouldn't notice that it has actually been going to the second OS. And then the second OS will send a command into the first one to reboot it. And the third one will still act as a backup. So this is the triple redundancy that we put in there. So this is where we are reducing all the maintenance very, very low. And also, providing all those hardware design to make maintenance low, and also to be able to run all the high technology in there. I will go into Q&A session shortly. I just want to go through some frequently asked questions because probably that's something in your mind as well. If you have multiple entrances, can you deal with that? Yes, as I showed you, our customers have already been using multiple doors. We will just combine the data together, and on the display screen, it will be the combined occupancy for that specific area. Now, how do you activate and integrate the counters to electronic door? We do have a wiring diagram. You do need to let us know. So if any additional features that you require, you do let us know. We don't charge extra for that, but we need to put in the extra cable for you so that you can put that on and connect onto the electronic door. If you want to use your own tablet, yes, Android, any Android tablet version 9 and above. We do not provide the hardware, the stand for the tablet. So, but if you're struggling to source one locally, please let us know. We may have other resellers that are able to find a source, so we will share that information. You can get the Live Occupancy app online. We will give you the setup guide. We will give you the link to download or the URL to use. Here are some data sheet that you can use as well. Now I'll go through the Q&A session. So I will be stopping my recording, and then you could ask any question that you may have.